If you're about to scroll past this video, let me warn you, you are going to regret that for the rest of the week. Because what happened in a gas station parking lot in Derry, New Hampshire in June of 2005 is the kind of story that rewires your brain. You're going to be in the middle of some completely normal moment, eating lunch, walking to your car at night, and this is going to flash into your head out of nowhere. Someone walked into that gas station, paid cash, no name, no ID, bought a prepaid phone, walked out, cut open the packaging in their car, dialed the activation number, and then when the customer service representative asked for their name, they stopped. They just sat there in silence because they were about to make the biggest mistake of their life, and they didn't even know it yet. You don't get to leave this video without knowing what happened next. June 2005, Derry, New Hampshire, a quiet town north of Manchester. Most people there go about their lives without ever becoming part of a story like this. But someone in Derry had a problem, a serious one, the kind of problem where you can't use your real phone, you can't leave a digital trail, you need to disappear at least for the length of one conversation. So they walked into a gas station, picked up a prepaid burner phone from the rack near the register, paid in cash, total anonymity, total protection, and drove back to their car. They tore open the packaging, dialed the activation number. A customer service representative answered. Standard procedure. They asked for a name to register the account. And whoever was in that car, whoever had just done everything exactly right to stay invisible, hesitated. Why did they hesitate? Think about that for a second. You don't buy a prepaid phone in cash and drive to a parking lot at night because you want to be found. You do it because something in your life has gotten so out of hand that you need to operate in the dark. And yet, at the one moment where all you had to do was say nothing, give nothing, stay nothing, they stopped. Investigators would later say this was the thread, the one small, human, nervous, irrational moment of hesitation that pulled the entire case apart. Because when you hesitate on a recorded activation call, your voice is already there. The timestamp is there. The cell tower ping from your location, it's already there. The gas station surveillance footage is already time-stamped and flagged. The person gave a name, a fake one, investigators believed. But the way they gave it, the cadence, the pause, the specific phrasing, matched patterns in voice recordings already in a federal database tied to a separate investigation that had been running cold for nearly a year. Now here's where this story spirals into something that doesn't feel real. The case this prepaid phone connected to was not a small one. It wasn't a personal dispute or a local crime. The trail of calls made from that phone over the next 2 weeks wove together a network of people across 3 states who all had reason to know each other, all had reason to stay invisible, and all had, at various points, been in contact with a person who had vanished 18 months earlier under circumstances police had never been able to explain. The person who disappeared, a 34-year-old from Nashua, had been officially listed as a voluntary missing adult. No foul play suspected, no crime scene, just gone. Family hadn't pushed hard, friends had drifted. The case file was thin. But then the calls from this prepaid phone began surfacing in call logs. One number called belonged to a man already under surveillance in a wire fraud case. One number was an unregistered phone that pinged towers in 3 states in 2 days, moving in a pattern that didn't make sense for a person just passing through. And one number, one specific outgoing call from the burner phone, made at 2:17 in the morning, connected to a landline registered at an address that had come up in a completely unrelated homicide tip 3 years prior. The tip had been dismissed. No follow-up. The address had been marked inactive in the system. The detective who first noticed the connection later said he almost didn't catch it. He was reviewing an unrelated case when a name triggered a cross-reference. The address match was 1 degree removed, buried in a supplementary file. But once he saw it, once those 2 cases locked together, he said the hair on his arm stood up. Because the person who had disappeared 18 months earlier, they had lived at that address, not the registered name, the person who had vanished. The prepaid phone purchase, the hesitation, the activation call, it hadn't just exposed whoever was making those calls. It had potentially exposed the final thread connecting a missing person, a cold address, and a network of people who had spent over a year pretending not to know each other. What happened at that address? Why had someone driven to a gas station in the middle of the night to buy an untraceable phone? Why did they hesitate to give a name? And did that hesitation save someone, expose someone, or simply accelerate something that was already in motion? Some of those answers came out in the months that followed. Some of them still haven't. But here is what investigators confirmed. The person who bought the phone knew exactly where the missing person was, had known for a long time, and every call made from that prepaid device, every single one, was a calculated attempt to keep that information buried. They almost succeeded, almost. So let me ask you this. When you heard about that hesitation, that one small pause on an activation call, did your stomach drop too? Because it gets me every single time. It's not some Hollywood villain who slipped up on an elaborate scheme. It's just a person, alone in a dark parking lot, deciding in a split second whether to give their name. And that one moment of human doubt, that tiny, involuntary flicker, unraveled everything. This is the kind of story we live for at WhisprFrame. Real cases, real people, real moments where something invisible shifts and the truth starts crawling toward the surface. If you didn't subscribe before this video, do it now. Hit that bell, because next week we're going somewhere even darker. A case that Mr. Ballin has been covering that nobody saw coming, and a trail that's still cold in ways that should terrify you. The subscribe button is right there. Don't make the same mistake as the person in the parking lot. Don't hesitate.